Welcome back to consecutive day 1175, the diary of a Runpreneur. And in today's episode, I want to talk about how courageous really are you. So remember to give this a subscribe, share, like and comment, as the more people we get in front of, the more money we raise on my fundraising mission to save the lives of children by attempting the ultimate ultramarathon. All the information about the challenge and how you can get involved is in the link in the comments below. Thank you as always, and let's get started. So, consecutive day 1175 of a diary of a Runpreneur. And the topic today is, how courageous really are you? And the reason for this topic, I'm just going past someone, so just bear with me a second. Thank you. So the reason for this topic is a little bit off-piste from the usual holiday spiel, but on the way over I was watching a Netflix documentary stroke film called The Deepest Breath. Now it's a bit of a spoiler alert, so if you haven't seen it and you want to watch it, don't watch this episode, stop now. But if you have watched it, or you're not planning to watch it and you don't mind knowing what happens, then carry on. So the reason for the topic is something that hit me quite strongly. And occasionally you find movies or documentaries that affect you, and this was certainly one of them. And it can affect me for a couple of reasons. Number one, there's extreme sports and there's freediving, which is just mind-blowing in terms of extremeness. So I'll come back to what it is in a second. And the second part is the courageousness that one of the key characters showed in the film. It's a real life story, so it really happened. So first and foremost, what is freediving? Well, freediving is a sport, basically, it's scuba diving without an oxygen tank. So ultimately, they're freediving as deep as they possibly can. And to put it in perspective, the current world record for the females, well, it was a few years ago, was 104 metres down. Now that is, it's like more than two Statue of Liberties straight down. And there's no oxygen tank, so you're holding your breath. And the challenges that this causes is when you come back up, acclimatising to the different levels of pressure down at those levels, the last 10 metres is the most dangerous when you're coming back to the surface, and the number of people who actually pass out have a blackout, which is incredibly dangerous, because if you black out in the water, then you're potentially going to drown. So the safety element and the safety organisation that goes into it is absolutely extreme. And so that's freediving for you. I watched a lot of kind of free climbing videos, which are extreme enough. They make one mistake, they basically fall to their death. I think free diving probably has a higher death rate. It is just jaw-dropping that the number of people that are that extreme, that put themselves to those kind of dangers. And now onto the character. So there's an Irish guy who is a free diver. He is the Irish world record holder for a period of time. I don't think he still is. And his name is Stephen Keenan. And he's from Ireland. He set up a free diving school in Egypt. And he had a pretty bad blackout when he was doing his training. So decided, enough's enough. I'm going to focus on being a safety diver. And I think the lowest they generally go is like 20, 25 metres, because the most risk to the diver is in the last 10. So this guy was then a safety diver. And first and foremost, there was one of the male world record holder had a pretty scary experience whereby he blacked out, or was struggling, 40 metres from the surface. Now, Stephen Keenan, who was down at about 25, 30, could just about see him, could see he was struggling. And it's unheard of for a safety diver who's already holding his breath at 25 metres to go down to 40 to save someone. So ultimately, against all odds, it was incredibly high risk. He went down, risking his life, saved the world record holder. So he became a bit world famous in the freediving community. And then he kind of has this love story where he he meets this Italian lady, Alessia Zeccarini, who was the current, I don't know if she still is or not, I haven't looked, but she was the one who managed to go 104 metres down in a successful dive. And he did a lot of training with her, so they kind of struck up this kind of relationship and romance. And everywhere she dived, she had the confidence psychologically to go further, knowing that she had probably the best safety diver in the business on her team. And then the story ends basically whereby she's broken a record, which is amazing enough. And then she decides to go for one of the most famous dives, which is down into a hole and through a famous arch underwater. And it's about 100 metres in total, but you go down like 50, across 30, and then back up. So it's pretty extreme. And so many of them died. This is like a graveyard of freediving experiences. So they plan it all out. And cut long story short, Stephen goes down the other side of the arch to bring it back up in the most dangerous part. And for whatever reason, a few of the timings were out and they missed each other when Alessia came through the arch. So she got delirious and didn't know which way she was going. And the end result was there was panic. She was struggling, getting delirious. Her risk of life was extreme. And then he manages to spot her in the distance. And he just goes for her. Obviously, it's love and it's romance and it's putting her before himself. And miraculously, he manages to stay under, saves her by pushing her to the surface just prior to him having a blackout. And she was in no fit state to make sure he was okay. And he blacked out, came to the surface on his front and drowned, ultimately. And it just affected me so much because you learn about these two characters throughout the 2-hour-long documentary. But he had not only risked his life for another competitor who he had no prior relationship with, the world record holding male. Okay, he had a relationship with the female, and ultimately he killed himself to save her. And he probably knew that when he did it. And for me, that's heroism and courageousness that is just unmatched. And it makes you cry thinking about it, and emotional that this guy was so courageous. He didn't think, he just goes to save the lives of others over his head. It then makes you ask deep questions of yourself. What would you do in that situation? And truth be told, I'd love to think that I was like him. I hope I'm like him. But until you find yourself in that situation, I'm not sure you find out whether you really like them. I think for loved ones, wives, children, I'd like to think without a shadow of a doubt I would be that guy. But for people, it's just another person. Would I be that person? And I think my learnings for the diary today is we talk about courage, we talk about heroism regularly, but until you see stories like this, you don't really know what it really means. And then we talk about courage for ourselves and heroism for ourselves. I think ultimately, until you find yourself in a situation like that, you don't really know who's really courageous and who's really a hero or not. But anyway, that's it for me today. Any questions or comments, drop me a line. I'll respond to everyone. Remember to give this a subscribe, share, like and comment. More people we get in front of, the more money raise on my fundraising mission to save the lives of children by attempting the ultimate ultramarathon. All the information about the challenge, how you can get involved is in the link in the comments below. Thank you as always. Stay positive, stay happy, and I'll see you again tomorrow.